some of my favorite scents that I've created are from a blend. Like I think one that I sent you, I think was black coral and vetiver, if I'm not mistaken. And
Hmm.
that was a blend of two. I just said, what if? And I tried it and I thought it turned out really nicely.
They're all really good. Like
Thank you.
they're all really
Thank you.
nice. And it's so funny. So I have to say, when we met up in Portugal and you were talking about like, oh, I want to send you some candles, blah blah blah. So there was like a slight because I had no idea that you were like chemically conscious
Oh,
when it
yeah.
comes to your approach. I did not know that. And
Oh,
so for the longest time, you're like, oh, it's kind of took the fun out of burning candles. Our household, because of me, has been a no candle household for
oh,
because I've been very like, I don't want
the
chemicals burning,
chemicals.
which is rich coming from me because I will ingest other chemicals willingly. Welcome back to season 2 of Graphic Content, the podcast where we talk all things who, why, and the what the moments along the way. Today I'm joined by Angela Deeds, the founder of South of Somewhere Candle Company. What started as a migraine friendly creative outlet became a full on second chapter built around clean burning candles, signature scents, and a retail experience that's all heart. She is proof that the next version of your life doesn't have to look anything like the last one. Welcome to Graphic Content, Angela.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That is so sweet, and I'm so excited to be here. You make
I'm
you
so
make me
excited.
sound so much better than I am.
You're gonna shut the up about that and not even go in that direction. You are amazing. That's the
Thank
reason
you.
why I asked you to be on the show.
Thank you. So are you.
Thank you. So before we get into it, I want to give the listeners a little bit of a background on how we know each other because I think that story in itself is amazing. So like I'm gonna let you go and talk about how you got to know me.
You want me to tell the story?
Yes, of course.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we were on a cruise ship. We
Hmm.
go on Celebrity every February. It's our favorite time of the year, and I think the first stop was Puerto Rico, and we were with some friends and went to a fun little bar in San Juan, and I I had to break away to go call my mom, so I walked over to a little window, and I'm sitting there, and I'm got my phone, and you all walked in, and there was a big
Hmm.
group of guys, and you all went to the whole loungy area, and my friend Kelly had just brought me this beautiful orange martini,
Hmm.
and as I'm waiting for the phone to pick up, you walked over and you said, "Excuse me, can you tell me what is that martini? Because it looks really amazing." And I go, "It's called a porn star martini." And just as I said it, my mom picked up and I'm like, "Oh, hi, mom." And you guys all just fell out, and it was so funny, and I think that was our bonding moment.
It was. We were calling you that all week. Like we would see you cross paths on the ship, and we are like, "Hey, porn star!" We're like whispering in the restaurants, like
I
it was like
know.
quiet, like
I'm like,
dining.
"Quiet, say it quietly, please."
But like even to the point where after the fact, like we just would refer to you as porn star. And so then we followed each other on Instagram. We were like social media friends after that, and you know how it is. Like
Yes.
you run into people, you make friends with them, and then you're like, I'll
Yeah,
probably never see them again.
yeah.
Cut to so Tyler and I recently were in Spain and Portugal. And so the first half of our trip was in Spain. We were there for a friend's wedding, V Foucault, who actually did an episode of season 1. We were like hanging out at the villa. It was the day after the wedding. It was like very low key. Everyone's kind of like vibing, like everyone's kind of like people were hungover or whatever from the night before. I'm scrolling my phone, and I see that you had posted that you were in Portugal. You were in
Mhm.
Porto, I think, at the
Right,
time.
right.
And so immediately, I didn't even like I just looked at Tyler and I go, "Porn star is in Porto." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Porn star, like Angela." And he goes, "What the like you need to message her." And so immediately I messaged you, and then we made plans to meet up in Lisbon because we were going to be there
Yes,
at the same time.
yes.
And you two made that trip so much more special. Like I'm not just
Oh,
saying this to blow smoke. Like I
oh.
mean, you can vouch for this. Like we had an amazing time.
we had so much fun, and I laugh because, we were gonna meet for dinner,
Yeah.
and I know nothing about Lisbon, and so I go to the front desk, and I'm like, "These are young guys, they're, like, early 30s, and so we gotta take them somewhere really
I'm in
fun."
my
We
late 30s, but thank you, I'll take it.
So, I said, "Where can we take them?" And she's like, "Well, here, here, here. You could take them to this rooftop place," but she goes, "I don't know if you'll get in," and I wasn't quite sure if she meant, maybe you're a little too old for the demographic or they're booked.
Yeah, they're
But
busy.
we ended up going there and, oh my god, it was the funnest rooftop, like, vibe going on, and we just had so much fun.
It was amazing.
So
I love the it was, like, super loungy DJ, like, it was all very jungle energy on the rooftop. Loved it. The food was excellent.
mhm.
I every meal that we had in Lisbon, I loved. Like,
It was amazing.
it was so good. I had so much fun, and then we met up a second time before we left, which
And
was
and had ceviche,
yes, it
my
was so
favorite
good.
food group.
The
So
funniest thing was you literally saying like, "Oh, like, let's go to this spot. You think you can make it?" And you sent us the location. I go, I'm like, "Girl, I go to Tyler." I'm like, "It's 90 meters from our Airbnb." I'm like, we're absolutely going."
That was such a I was so glad you guys wanted to meet us.
I truly believe, like, and this is my like mushy bullshit coming out, but I genuinely mean this. Like, the universe, life,
Yeah.
whatever, really brings people together. And
Yes.
I've been really making a point in the last year to just put out this energy of what I really want to bring forth to my life. And the fact that I've met a lot of new people, you included, where you share a lot of the same values. You have very similar energy in the sense that you're like, we have one life. Why are we going to
Mhm.
live it being negative and complaining? And
Exactly.
the world is already a storm. Like, why don't we try to
Yes,
just
it
like
is.
create some positivity? And that's what. And as we were talking, you talk about your business, and I was like, on the rooftop, I said, I remember being like, "Okay, I'm gonna ask you something. Like, would you be down to do the podcast?" And then it was just like, I was so happy that you were in, and here we are, like 2 months later.
Well, who doesn't like to talk about something that they're passionate about, right?
Yeah,
And it's a great chance to catch up with you.
100%.
So thank you for asking me.
Oh my god. And so enough with the kissing each other's asses. We gotta let's
Yeah.
talk about you. So one of the things that I really liked about your story was similar to myself, where we started out corporate, where you are
Mhm.
working in a more like structured field for somebody else, and then you venture out on your own, and you're like, okay, let me do something for me that makes sense and aligns with myself.
Yep.
So when you started South of Somewhere, what was the impetus for you to launch that?
The biggest impetus was that I love to burn candles. I feel like they're very calming for me.
Hmm.
And so many times I would burn a candle and I would get a migraine from it. It would somehow trigger my migraines.
Hmm.
And so I never quite understood why, and it kind of made me not want to burn candles for a while. So I tried to
Hmm.
do research on it. And what I found was that there's a lot of candles that had chemicals in them,
Hmm.
phthalates in them that are just not really healthy, but they're cheap. And
Yes.
so they give scent at a very low cost. And so I started thinking, well, I could probably figure out how to make my own, right? And at the same time, we had a long weekend in Charleston, South Carolina, and I saw these candles that were made out of wine bottles. And I had never seen that before. I mean, this is 16, 17 years ago, probably. And I thought, well, we entertain all the time.
Yeah.
I have a giant recycling bin every week of wine bottles, it seems like. So I certainly have stock to do this. So bought a
Yeah.
wet saw, and that was kind of my first foray into doing it. It was really fun. I started doing it just as gifts for friends and things for me. And then more and more people were like, "Hey, here's a bottle that is special to me. Can you make a
That's so
candle from it?"
cute.
And so it turned into a little bit more of a specialized thing for
Hmm.
me. Um, and I loved doing it. The biggest issue for me is, the bulk of candle sales I think are mostly holiday driven. And we lived in Minnesota, and you're using a wet saw in Minnesota and it's 10 degrees and you're getting water splashed on you and you're literally frozen in 5 seconds. And I'm out there with, and it suddenly became a chore, and I didn't love it, so I pawned it off on my husband, and I'm like, "Oh, it's great, you're gonna love it, it's so fun." It's very manly, it's a wet saw, "Oh, you're gonna love it." And he probably did it for me for about a year, and he's like, If I have to do this one more time, I will kill you. Like, I
Mhm.
cannot. It's awful, I hate it." So, I morphed into other kind of vessels, so which is what I do now, so glass or ceramic or wood or cement, and so that I kind of found a sweet spot there, and
Yeah.
I made sure that I was using really good quality wax, I was using really good quality fragrance, that is completely chemical free, and now, 15 years later, there's so many companies out there that offer really nice high-end fragrances that are completely chemical free, so it's not so much of an issue, but, it pretty easy to find. But that's kind of how it started, and then trying to do it with a full-time job.
Yeah.
I retired from General Mills, back about 9 months ago, and, I had a pretty intense job, and so this was always a side hustle for me. It was
Mhm.
always just a very small thing that I did around my really big gig. So it was a little bit of a prioritization challenge, but
Yeah.
it worked out, and it worked out because I kept it small.
It's really hard to go all in when you don't necessarily have the space or the time to really commit. And
Yep.
so what was that transition like from, okay, I'm because you said you had retired, right?
I retired this past March, so I did it for 15, 16 years while I had a job,
Hmm.
a
And
career.
so when you retired, how did that transition go with the business?
As you get closer to retirement, and one day you'll know this many, many years from now, as you get closer, you're like thinking of all the things in retirement that you can do. You're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And I fully expected that the minute I retired, I was gonna blow this I wanted to be much more national, and I was gonna, really, because I didn't even have a website. I mean, I
Mhm.
did Etsy and I did Instagram, but the bulk of my business was local, and I could really hardly keep up with that. It was a real challenge to try to do it all, and when I retired, I took some time, I traveled with my husband a bit, and actually, like, sat on the couch and drank coffee and read a book, like,
Yeah.
This is kinda nice,"
Yeah.
and I slowly came to the conclusion that I don't have to blow this up to a national thing. I don't have to grow it bigger than I wanna grow it, because
Mhm.
there are other things in my life that are a priority, my kids and my grandkids and my parents and, and just actually being able to take a gym class at 10 AM, which is
Yeah.
something I on a school day, which is something I never had been able to do. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of at the space right now where I've grown it. The business has grown. It's grown kind of organically without me really knocking myself out and turning this into another 60-hour-a-week job.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think we're fed this idea that we need to, it has to be like the biggest possible expansion, especially as like even
Yeah.
me, like I went through this. I'm going into my ninth year of running the business, and I'm at this point where I'm like, I do want to expand, but in ways that make sense to me, and not in the ways that I had previously had in my mind, where I was like, I want to be like everywhere, I want to be
Yes.
blowing up, and I'm like, I don't think I can actually handle that. Like, I don't want that level of pressure.
I think the biggest problem that we all have is just comparison. You compare
100.
what you're doing, and I will tell you, I follow a lot of other really kick-ass candle makers, and they have this major business, and they're here and they're there, and they're expanding, and look at their list of stockists, and they're doing collaborations and all this, and I admire them so much. But at the end of the day, they're in a different life stage that
Hmm.
I'm in. I mean, they're probably early 30s. They haven't had that, work like a dog when you're young, whereas I had that. And so I still know there are times that I work like a dog, but I'm a little bit more selective on it. And it is nice to have a little fallback of having worked for 32 years and having scrimped and saved, and, I don't have to it's not like I have to do this to pay my bills,
Yeah.
and I am so fortunate to be in that position, but that's another reason why I can't compare myself to someone that has to make their business a giant success, and I
Mhm.
admire those people so much, but I've been there, done that.
That's also a valid pathway to take. You do not need
Mhm.
to hustle. Like, I look at certain people who I'm like, "Don't you want to slow down a little bit?" Like, especially, like, when I'm hitting 60, I don't wanna be hustling the way that I'm hustling now. I just don't want that to be my life because I want
No.
the time that I'm doing now to be able to, Lord willing that
Yeah,
everything doesn't completely collapse and I'm able to have some sort of a foundation for myself that I'm building now.
right.
But at the same time, I think, like, the fact that you are listening to yourself, you're doing like a 360 assessment of, like, okay, where am I at? What makes sense for me? And also, what
Yeah,
is my definition of success to me, right? You're
right.
creating something that you love, which, by the way, yesterday I brought so you had sent me and Tyler some candles,
Yeah.
and they are excellent.
Oh, good.
I The geographic one, which I told you I was going to post it. I've been trying to find like a holiday theme kind of like vibe to take a
Aw.
picture. I have no Christmas decor because we've been gone, so I brought it to my parents' house last night. I went over for dinner, and I was telling my mom and my sister about you and like today, and we were recording whatever, and I was talking about just like you and your
Oh,
approach to like sending the baccarat scented one to Tyler, and
yeah.
like just like that level of care, like that just in itself tells me everything I need to know about how much you value and that you put love into your work.
Oh, thank you. And that I think that's part of the reason why I love the localness of what I do because it gives me some time to really get to know people and,
Hmm.
you know, I love to find out like what is a scent you love? Like what are things in your home that are cozy to you? And so my goal is to try to give them a scent or create for them a scent that they burn and they're like it's unique to them and they love it. It makes them feel cozy in their own home and in their own skin because
Hmm.
Lord knows when you walk out the door, we're all on,
Yeah.
24/7. Your home should be a kind of a haven where you go
Hmm.
to escape. And I think scent plays a really big part in that. So,
100%.
yeah.
So with the now I just like selfishly I want to know, like, the geographic scent, like that one, my sister, her first thing she goes, she's like, that smells like a man, I want to know. I was like, I love it.
So I there are a couple of really high-end fragrance companies that they have their own unique fragrances, but they also will do inspired by fragrances,
Mm,
which they're not dead on because we don't have the formula for that, but they're pretty close. And so that one that I sent you, I believe, is by a fragrance company called Creed,
oh,
and
I know
it's
Greed.
Aventus
Love
is and it's funny because when you smell it cold, it's a little different than when you burn it. It's a little bit different, and so when I smell it cold, I'm like, "It's not very strong, and I don't know that I get it," and then I burn it, and I'm like, "Where is this man?" Like, it is just
that.
the most delicious scent. I love it.
Well, I
So
love
I'm glad
that.
you like it.
I like it. It's, you know what? It's, and I'm such an old Italian woman where I'm like, it's really nice. I don't want to use it.
No, but
Like,
here's the thing with those ones, I've started doing this new thing, and this is more like a corporate gift kind of thing, but
hmm.
we'll take a logo
Yes.
and etch it on the side of a vessel. And
Hmm.
so right now when you look at it, if you don't burn it, you see the white wax through it because
Yeah.
I only do white wax. As it burns though, it's going to glow through. So you have to burn it to
Okay.
get that full effect and then your logo will start to glow through.
I love that. Okay, and like the fact the customization of it too is like so nice. I was like, "Oh my god." The fact, just anyway, like, I just love the fact that you did that. It means so much to me, and the fact that you sent it,
Oh,
it's such a lovely gift.
oh,
And Anyway, I'm
I'm so
so
glad you
obsessed
like
with it.
it.
I love it. Are you kidding? And, like, Tyler and I have been burning the one with, like, the swirly vessel.
Yes.
To anyone who's listening, by the way, vessel meaning what?
Vessel is just the carrier
Mhm,
of whether it's glass or ceramic or wood, which I do not like, or cement, which is tricky, or a wine bottle or whatever the carrier is.
mhm. So, question for you. So, when
Yeah.
you stepped in, once you like left corporate life, what parts of experiencing that corporate life for so long were preparing you for this new phase of entrepreneurship?
You know, the last 25 odd years of the 32 years, I called on Costco Wholesale. And maybe that's why I like so much with this business, the localness and getting to know people. Because when you call on a customer for 25 years, you really get to know them.
100%.
They were very challenging at times. They are expert negotiators, but I loved calling on them because it is such a great company. They're such great people, and I felt like knowing some of them so well, it felt very like you and I talking, very conversational.
Mhm.
It was very rare that I felt like I had a sales pitch. It was
Yeah.
more like, friends having a conversation and let's figure out what the right thing is
Mhm.
to bring to market. And so the building relationships part, it taught me a lot about having a career and a side hustle, taught me about prioritization, taught me about what's really important, like what's a have to have and a nice to have in the
Mm.
business. I also kind of got to choose my travel schedule. So I kind of knew when I was going to be gone and when I could, work different things with the candle company around my schedule.
Yeah.
But I think the interpersonal relationships that you build, especially I've been in sales the whole time. It's a great base to have for any company that you start or you go to because you have to have those interpersonal skills to
Mhm.
be able to and I will also say too, it is very tempting as a in sales to go in with your thing you're trying to sell and you just go right into it and it's a speech and you talk and you don't take the time to listen to the feedback.
100%.
And sometimes you're at the end of it and you realize you had this whole sales pitch that was geared towards something they're not even looking for,
Yeah.
like, or their priorities have changed. And so, for me, that part of it is great in what I do now because I really have to sometimes listen to what people are looking for and what they like and what kind of feeling they wanna invoke in their home or their business.
Mhm.
What scent speaks to this construction company? Like,
Yeah.
does he want like a manly scent? Is it more of like a lavender? Is it that, I find that to be really fun, really, really fun. And sometimes it's very challenging and it seems like it shouldn't be, but it kind of is to find it right.
I
So.
find that so interesting, especially because so okay, back up a bit. What types of clients do you work with? Like what are because there must be a wide range of people.
It actually is, and the funny part about it is my business has evolved very twofold. So, the one part of it is the candle making,
Mm,
and then the other part of it is, when I first started doing this, I needed an outlet to sell them, and so I joined up in when we lived in Minnesota, I joined a couple of vendor marketplaces, and then when we moved here to Georgia 14 years ago, I found a great shop that is a vendor marketplace, and just in case, people don't know what that is, it's basically somebody owns a storefront, and you have individual vendors in there that either hand make stuff or they sell, they resell, whatever it is. It's great to have both of those because
mhm,
one is like I'm a retailer, I'm a store in a store, and the other is I'm the actual manufacturer.
mhm.
So sometimes people contact me through the vendor marketplace and say, I saw your candles there and I'd like to work on something. Sometimes it's word of mouth. I've reached out to, different corporations usually it's people contacting me, but every once in a while I reach out. The one thing I love to do is we have a food and wine festival here every March, the Lake Oconee Food and Wine Festival. We have a beautiful Ritz-Carlton that they hold it at. And every year I do about 75 candles for their sponsor baskets.
Love that.
And so we etch the logo on there. And so that's the kind of thing. So in a sponsor basket, oh, it's South of Summer Designs. And then they contact me about it. So I've been very lucky that I haven't really had to reach out to too many. I feel like I'm getting more coming in kind of organically.
Mhm. And that's the thing, like, it's like that customization piece, like, that to me is something that I would feel like would be very special, especially because, mass produced is one thing, but
Yeah.
when it's you're getting to know, and I can relate to this in my own work, where you're getting to know the person on the other side of the call. You're understanding, like, what is the feeling that you're going for? What is the energy that you want? And
Yes.
and then creating that customization through those conversations, through the relationship that you're building with them. That's the that I find so um it keeps me doing what I do. And so you talking about it is like we're very similar in how we approach our work.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been pretty lucky that the folks that I've worked with that want a signature scent, I've been able to keep them very unique in their scent.
Hmm.
Others, if you like the lake house scent, other people don't seem to be drawn to it. It's just very unique and individualistic. The fragrance oils that are out there, so many of them are unbelievably good, and there's no reason to tweak them. But sometimes I'll blend, try
Yeah.
some things and I'll blend, and I've some of my favorite scents that I've created are from a blend. Like, I think one that I sent you, I think was black coral and vetiver, if I'm not mistaken, and
Hmm.
that was a blend of 2. I just said, "What if?" And I tried it, and I thought it turned out really nicely.
They're all really good. Like
Thank you.
they're all really
Thank you.
nice. And it's so funny. So I have to say, when we met up in Portugal and you were talking about like, oh, I want to send you some candles, blah blah blah. So there was like a slight, because I had no idea that you were like chemically conscious
Oh,
when it
yeah.
comes to your approach. I did not know that. And
Oh.
so for the longest time, you're like, oh, it's kind of took the fun out of burning candles. Our household, because of me, has been a no candle household for
Oh,
because I've been very like, I don't want
the
chemicals burning,
chemicals.
which is rich coming from me because I will ingest other chemicals willingly. I listen. I'm a self-aware queen, um, but generally, I'm like I don't want. And I remember you talking, and Tyler and I were sitting, and there was like a very brief moment where we like kind of looked at each other, and he kind of like smiled because he knows how he's been very like, oh, why won't you let me burn candles? But knowing
Oh,
that your approach is this consciously designed candles, it
yeah.
was like, oh yeah, go for it. Like I don't care. And it really worked out because I normally would be like a Bath and Body Works. I'm like, I'm not burning that in my house. Like people buy me candles. I'm like, that will not be
I
lit.
know. To me, it's a big thing. We are all now aware enough out there about chemicals and the danger of chemicals
Hmm.
in candles and what, diffusers and room sprays and that kind of thing. So I
Yeah.
think there's enough companies out there now that are really conscious of it. And if they're not, they're selling to, Dollar Tree or something. I don't
Hmm.
know, but, it's not as hard to find great candles now, and
Hmm.
there's just a lot of great candle makers out there, so I encourage people who have always been like, "Yeah, I don't want chemicals in my house," to just try them and see, or do some
Yeah.
research and go to their website or, talk to the maker, there believe me, people that own a candle company, we love to talk about candles,
Yeah.
and
Of course.
they will tell you what's in their candles.
Hmm.
So,
So I want to talk a little bit about identity. I think that
okay.
especially going through a large portion of your life where you were previously, like in you said, in a corporate setting, and so now you are redefining yourself
Mhm.
for yourself and not through the title like of another company. Like what has your retirement journey, let's say, been, and how's that helped you in like redefining your identity as Angela today?
It was a very strange transition for me, and I thought
Mhm.
it would not be. I thought it would be a super easy transition. I've when people that are retired go, Oh, I'm busier in retirement than I ever was working. I don't know how I found the time to do this. And I would be like, yeah, sure. Like, please don't talk to me right now. And then I retired and I'm like, I have no idea how I did this all. Like, I'm so busy. The difference is that I'm actually busy doing things other than like spending 5 hours trying to find a lost semi truck full of Chex Mix, right?
Mm,
I'm I'm getting a lot more sleep. I'm
yeah.
going to the gym more. I'm seeing my friends more. I'm seeing my mom more. We're traveling more. It has been a blessing. I will tell you though, if you retire and you don't have a plan, you will be in trouble. You will be in
Yeah.
trouble because you kind of wake up. And if I didn't have this candle thing, you wake up and you're like, what do I do today? Oh, maybe I
Hmm.
go play some pickleball, or maybe I go for a walk, or you can only go to lunch so many times. And if you say my plan is to travel, you're not traveling.
24/7.
No, I mean, it's great to be able to do that,
Yeah.
but you really have to have some kind of a plan for what you want to do with your days. And maybe it's volunteering, and that's fabulous. Or maybe, you know, I don't know. I'm just so thankful that I had another business that
Hmm.
I could kind of fall back on, and I can, bear down, or I can lay off it a little bit. But I will say the one thing that has been very nice is that when I haven't seen somebody in a while, a friend, a lot of times I get, "You seem so happy." Like, retirement really agrees with you. And I'm like, "Okay." It tells me that I made the right decision. It
Hmm.
tells me how, kind of haggard I was before running around trying to do it all. And, I'm just thankful I'm in the position that I am in.
Yeah,
So,
100%. And once again, it's because you're really like listening to what your soul, your energies are telling you of what makes the most sense for me as a person. And like
yeah.
it is nice that you're able to like, okay, like you said, I can hit the gas, I can hit the brakes a little
Yeah.
bit when I want, and you're still able to keep the ball rolling or whatever you want to call it, keep the vehicle moving forward, but it doesn't have to always be at 100% and like at because then sometimes it's like the burnout, like what is the point? You're not at a stage in your life where you're like let's burn out. You know what I mean?
No, and you spent time, or I've already been burnt out. Like, I already
Yeah.
had to work through all that, and I
Yeah.
did, and then then you go for a while, and then you get burned out again. And I just don't wanna get to the point where I it's something I don't enjoy, Like when I making those wine bottle candles, I love them, I still buy them, I think they're great, but I got to the point where it was just a real pain in the ass to do it,
Hmm.
and I thought, life is too short, so you just kinda gotta listen to yourself. You got I will say, it is very nice to not be bound and be able to take 2 weeks to go on vacation.
Hmm.
Whereas, when you're working, you're trying to, who's gonna cover for you, and how can I be away that long? And then half the time you're working on vacation. That part has been great because my husband retired years before I did. He's 8 years older than me. And so we always laugh because he read something a couple years ago, and it said 60 to 70 is go, go, go. 70 to 80 is slow go. And then after 80, it's no go. And he's like, "I ain't that far from no go. So we
Yeah.
gotta go, go, go." And he's
Hmm.
right, because you wake up and you're 58 years old. Like, when did that happen? Like, life goes really, really fast.
Yeah.
So, if it takes retiring to make you more mindful and more thoughtful and to really think about what you want, then I think it's a good thing if you're in that position and can do it.
I love it. You're giving me a lot of inspo for, in the next 30 years of my life or 20 years of my life where when I get to that point. Cause I'm also like, I'm the type I don't want to not have something to do.
Yes.
I can't be the person to sit around because that's when I start to like get depressed. And I'm like, I need to work on something, you know?
You have to have a plan, and I don't, and maybe that means go work part-time somewhere, like I said, go volunteer, but if your plan is, I'm just gonna travel and play some golf, I mean, maybe that can sustain you, but
Hmm.
maybe it can't, and that's kind of, you start to think, God, am I using my brain
Yeah,
enough? You know what I mean? So,
100%.
yeah.
So a big part of this podcast is, talking to people about their work and what makes them passionate. But I genuinely love to, it's in the tagline, is talk to people about like these what the moments that we come
Yep.
up against, because
Yep.
we all do, everyone does. So when I was going over your intake form,
Yeah.
you had mentioned a what the moment around like realizing your dream in the second chapter of your life
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily what you thought it was going to be. So like,
Yes.
what was that situation? Like, talk to me about that.
That was probably the biggest surprise in retirement. And, we've touched on it a little bit of, I really thought that I just wanted to hit the ground running, kind of balls to the wall.
Hmm.
And then I realized, God, there's more to life. There's more to life. And it's not that this is not important. It's just, I don't have to be like everybody else.
Hmm.
I don't have to rule the world. I don't have to be the candle making queen.
Hmm.
I don't have to, I really don't have to do that. So for me, I think that was the biggest, what the moment, because I'm so used to having a plan and executing the plan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Uh-huh.
I found that it actually gave me permission to be able to look at not just the what, but the how, and kind of what are the steps, what are here's the strategy, what are the tactics to get there?
Hmm.
And when I realized that, to me, I was just like, like, well, why did it take me so long to figure that out? So I guess that for me was probably the my biggest, as you say, what the moment.
Yeah. And so like, how did that fall out? Because you're saying, oh, it took me so, like, how did it take me so long? But I also personally, like, I feel like we come to these conclusions when it makes the most sense for us, right?
I didn't have the time to focus on it
Hmm.
before. I just had the time to fleetingly dream about it. And it's kind of like that last 3, 4 months before I retired, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna clean out every closet in my house. I'm gonna oh, the garage will be spotless. It is going to be it is g I like, I'll lead tours through my garage. It's gonna be so clean, and I might even
Hmm.
get somebody to come in and do that floor with the hooks and the things hanging."
Hmm.
I was I was like, "Yeah." And then I retired, and I'm like, "I hate the garage." Like,
Yeah.
it's funny how y y y this is what I had time to think about. Here's my list. And I had a list. Here's a list. And then when you get to the how, now you have time. You're sitting on the couch with your coffee, the dog nestled up next to you, and you're like, yeah, I'll do the garage another day. So I kind of feel like it's just time. Time
Hmm.
afforded me the ability to be way more thoughtful than
Yeah.
I have ever been. So,
Which is good. And I feel like that thoughtfulness is what will, like, it feeds into how the business is approached. I work in branding, that is my world. And
yeah.
every touch point that people have with you, whether it's through, you know, ordering a custom scent, or talking to you on the
Mhm.
phone, or dealing with like the getting the etching done, like that, all of that is a
Right.
brand touch point. And the fact that you're able to like be more thoughtful, like you said, about the
Yeah.
process and what you're doing, it just creates a more what's how do I say this, like, just fully realized interaction with the brand that is south of somewhere. And
Yeah.
that's super important, because at the end of the day, like, you and I were the same, where we're like, it's just us, like, we don't have like this huge team of people. And
Yeah.
so we are the brand, right? So it has to make sense for who you are as a person too.
I feel like too, and I can give you an example. There are several companies that I've worked with through the years that have always had a really kick-ass customer service, situation going on. And then I started noticing there was no longer a phone number on the
Mm.
website. It was the little dot, and you could talk to a bot, and then the bot decides, are they going to let you talk to a person, or are they going to make you go away,
Yes.
basically. And so I look at that and I go, God, like, one of the reasons I loved this company was that I could pick up the phone and have a conversation. Now I get that that is an expensive prospect. I totally get it. But that's kind of what I want. I mean, I want people to feel like if they have a question or a need or, they can call me. Just pick up the phone
Mhm.
and call me or text me or send me something through Instagram or whatever. That's basically part of my brand. And maybe that's why I am nervous about blowing it up and doing something national because I just feel like you lose that personality with it,
Oh,
which is
100%.
scary. It's a little scary for me.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, it's so true. Like I feel you too. Like I genuinely think you have such good energy. Like you're such a great person,
oh, thank
and
you.
you must have people who like just love dealing with you because that's what a lot of the feedback I get is you make the process, especially going through like branding or whatever. You make the process fun. Like it's a good time. I'm like, yeah, because this is we're creating something. Like, come on.
It should be fun.
Hmm.
It's if you're gonna spend your days doing it, you need to have fun
Yeah.
doing it, and there every once in a while, I'll get somebody, I'll be talking to somebody who, is kind of a little more uptight or a little bit more short and maybe a little
Hmm.
cold, and I feel like you can always kinda talk through that, and
100%.
and you can figure out, just because this is what they're saying, but maybe that isn't really what's underneath it all.
Hmm.
And so it just takes time, and you've gotta be willing to invest the time to get to know what it is they want, especially with, if you're doing a signature scent for someone, you are trying to create a sensory moment in someone's home that feels unique to them.
Hmm.
And it feels like it speaks to exactly who they are and what they wanna convey, whether it's like a signature scent for a business, whether it's a signature scent for, a person that is just like, "I love this scent," and it's all about making it unique for them, I
Hmm.
would say. So, I love doing it. I love it.
So on that note, so we've kind of talked about it, we talked around it. I want you to go into a little bit about the science behind creating the scents because that is something that like I know nothing about. I'm sure a lot of people don't. And so like what is something about that process that would surprise people? Cuz like to me I'm like how do you come to a scent?
Through the years, I guess you kinda learn through osmosis. Different fragrance oils have different viscosities or thickness. You've got so you're dealing with fragrance oil, you're dealing with different kinds of wax, depending upon what it is you use. You're dealing with different types of wicks, and then you're dealing with, different numbers of wicks depending upon how large your vessel is. I think, for me, I prefer to do a ton of burn tests. I
Mhm.
don't bring a vessel to the market until I do exhaustive testing. And the reason for that is how much does it suck when you spend money on a candle and you get it home and you burn it for 2 or 3 hours and the thing tunnels down,
Yes.
it doesn't use all the wax, or you can't smell it, it doesn't have a lot of scent, or what we call, I guess, in the candle world, if your wick is too big, it creates too much of a melt pool and it sometimes will drown the flame
Mm.
or make the flame tiny.
Yes.
So it is kind of a science, it is a carbon to oxygen ratio that, has to be kind of perfect for a candle to burn perfectly. As an example, I had an open house. I do it every year right before Christmas, and my husband and I turn the whole house into a pop-up shop.
I love
And
that.
I had 5 girlfriends come and help me with it, and I wanted to make them a candle that was really special, and I knew what scents they all liked, but it was a vessel that I've never used before, and it was a big vessel. Well, normally, I would spend a month to 2 months testing different wicks, different waxes, different fragrance, you test it all to make sure it's gonna burn right.
Mhm.
Well, I only had 5 of these vessels, and I had 5 girlfriends, so I had to wing it, and I'm telling you, I still lose sleep over it. I still lose sleep over it that it's not burning correctly and I've messed it
Mhm.
up, but it's really important, and it surprises me how many candle companies are out there that are like, you see them all the time on Instagram. They're going to do their big launch day and all this. But and I buy candles all the time. I buy because I love to
Yeah,
just
it's
try
research.
different things. And sometimes they don't burn very well. And I'm convinced it's because a lot of people don't really understand how much testing you need to do. So the science behind it is really important.
Yeah.
As a candle consumer, the thing that drives me nuts the most is that candles in a draft is not good. It will mess with the way that your candle burns and the efficiency that it burns.
Mm,
And so if you burn a candle and it's below a ceiling fan or it's in front of a vent, or sometimes if it's outside and it's a little breezy, it's going to mess with that carbon to oxygen ratio, and you might get a final product that doesn't perform as well as it should. I try to tell people when they buy, and on my candle warning on the bottom, and I have little signs up in my retail areas, keep this out of a draft. You want it to be efficient,
yeah.
and you don't want it, especially if you've just spent a lot of money on a big candle and it burns poorly. You
Mhm.
just feel bad about it. So,
I would never think of that. I think this is like actually like good information for people who are into candle burning or like who love candles because I would never even think, even though as you're explaining, I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. But to think like, don't put it near a vent or a fan, like I would never think of that.
and a lot of times, especially big candles, people buy them to put like on their patio in the summer, to burn it, and it's great. But I will tell you, probably about 2 years ago, I had made this giant candle, and I had it outside. I didn't realize through the course of the evening that it had gotten a little breezy, and so I think it was 6 wicks. Well, one of them blew out. And so 2 hours later, I had this lopsided, like this is burned down and this is up, and it just ruins your candle.
Yeah.
So it is kind of important to realize that.
Hmm. Having had so much experience working with like scents in
Mhm.
particular, because scent, like smell, is such an important thing when it
Yeah.
comes to memory and to like emotion and feelings and like in humans in general. Like it's a big part of our like our existence, our experience of life. Is there anything that you've kind of picked up over the years of how scents or smells, like what it is about the human psyche that is so like connected to smell?
We've all been there where you smell something and it reminds you of like when you were 5 years old, sledding with your sisters, or
Hmm.
I just think that sensory experience for some reason maybe is it seems like it is kind of the most, I guess you'd say, important, but it has the ability to transport you
Hmm.
to a time in your life. Lots of times I've walked into a place and went, "Oh," like, mm. Like if you've ever smelled, like somebody walks by and you smelled a cologne and it's like your ex
Girl,
wore that, you're like,
girl, I was
like,
just thinking that.
I mean, it is just I just think it evokes a memory.
Hmm.
It evokes a memory.
I love that you're able to help people to create new memories. Like,
Oh,
are
I
there
like that.
any? It's true. Like, it really.
Oh, thank you. I like that. I don't know. I think people have a definite vision of what they want for their home.
Hmm.
It is like the most private and sacred space that we have is our own home. And so you want it to be the way you want it. And sometimes I think people don't even really know what they like. It's like when they smell it, they just know it. So I'll say
Hmm.
to them a lot of times, like, is there a scent out there? Anything. Are you drawn to something in the garden? Is it more of like a masculine thing that kind of drives you? Is it more of like a food kind of thing or a cocktail or what? Tell me a scent that just really makes you happy and
Hmm.
and makes you feel content. And so that sometimes that's the way we get at it.
Has there been any fun, like, really random requests that you've had for smells?
I wouldn't say it was random, it's just not my scent at all, and every time I poured it, I was like, "Oh my god." I had a retailer at one of my vendor marketplaces when I lived in Minnesota, so this is 15 years ago. who loved him some patchouli,
Mm.
and I was like, "Let's blend it. Let's have a little bit of, like, how about some cedar with it or a little sandalwood or
Yeah.
let's," oh no, he wanted straight up patchouli. And that one was hard for me because he ordered
Mhm.
a lot of them, and I would come out of my candle studio and my husband's like, "Immediately, the shower."
Yeah, you can't
Like,
come in here.
you can't, and it's just not a scent that I love. Now I love it blended in a
Mhm.
really, like a small amount, but that's probably the one that, was the hardest for me to deal with.
If you're making a scent for you, like, what's your go-to?
Oh, um, I I'm not really drawn to florals, so florals are not my thing. I really love citrus. I
Mm.
love orange, I love grapefruit, and I really like them mixed with, say, lemon. I love lemon, but not in your face lemon.
Yeah, strong.
I love them with sandalwood. I love them with some of the more woody bases. I'm not especially drawn to, like, Fraser fir, although it's a huge seller. So I would say for me, it's probably more citrus and grapefruit. I love grapefruit. I mean,
Love.
I don't like to eat it, and I really
Mhm.
don't like to cut it and smell it, but in a fragrance, it's beautiful. It's
Mhm.
really, really, and I do not like powder. Anything powdery, which is in a lot of linens. If there are lots of people that
Okay.
love a good linen, and some of them really love that powder, and I'm like, Sister, let's not do that." But if they
Yeah.
love it, then they love it.
Yeah.
So
I've worn cologne for years, and then I wanna say in the last, like, probably over a decade, I've really been, like, like, no scent. Like, if
mhm,
anyone says, like, "Oh, I love," like, "What are you wearing?" I'm like, "Oh, it's my deodorant." Like, I'm not like, I don't wear cologne at all. But when I was in Thailand, we were in, we went to, I forget the name, it's like Chuket Market, and it's
okay.
this like massive outdoor market with 15,000 vendors. Okay, it was overwhelming, like to the point where Tyler had like choice paralysis. Like he's like, I don't even know what I want to get because there was so many
Yeah.
options, and I was like, it was our
Oh,
last day, and I had so much cash to burn. I was like, like this is my, I'm gonna go buy souvenirs for everybody.
right.
But there was this one vendor, they had custom soaps that they made. They had
Mm,
scents, oils, like all this stuff. And I was like, I don't normally enjoy, like, I'm not like a spray stuff on me kind of person,
mhm.
but they had this like a perfume, cologne, whatever, and it was a mango. And it sounds very random, but it
Wow,
smells exactly like the fruit. And I put it on, and I was
really?
like, just like one little spritz, and I was like, I love this. Like this is very like a summer, it's a very summery kind of
Yeah,
like scent.
yeah,
And I bought it because it was, I mean, it's Thailand, so everything was like dirt cheap. And I was like, okay, just in case I want this. And then I ended up buying one for my sister, and then I bought this other scent for my mom. And across the board, because I told you I saw them last night,
yeah.
and they were like, these smell amazing, and I was like, I know, it was like
Oh,
this random vendor. And I'm like, I look forward to the warmer months when this makes sense for me to wear even just a little bit,
yeah.
because it gives, it's like a fruity, I don't know, like I'm normally not drawn to scents at all. And so I was like very surprised at myself. I'm like, wow, like she's evolving. Like
That is so funny. I'm glad you found something that really spoke to you, you
hmm.
know? It would be interesting since you know that that's kind of a base that you like, to try to, maybe we'll have to work on something for you, something like add some like a woodier base, add,
Yes.
like for some reason lately sandalwood has been like my go-to. I love
Hmm.
it, but it would be kind of interesting to be able to take that scent that you feel is so summery and find a way to turn it more a little bit more fall and winter, like maybe add a little spice to it or something, make it
Ooh, that would be
more.
so good. I
Wouldn't that be
love
fun?
that.
I'll work on that for
Yes.
you.
So, okay, so what do you wear? Like if like cologne or perfume, like what are your go-tos?
The funny thing is, I really I really don't wear much, although I will say I recently ordered a bunch of makeup from Nordstrom, and they give you the little
Hmm.
freebies. And one of the freebies they sent me was this bag of cologne. and a beautiful perfume, and I'm looking, and it's, like, nice stuff, and I one of them in there was a little tiny thing of, I don't know if it's Hermès or Hermès, I think it's
Hermes, yeah.
Hermès, and I love it, but it's so small, and I don't know if Hermès makes 20 different fragrances or not. So, I've been wearing that a lot, and it's really, really lovely. So but I don't wear a lot, and it's probably because I'm surrounded by scent
Yeah.
all the time, and also, when you're surrounded by scent, I go nose blind after a while, and it's very
Okay.
common. It's like your sensory gets overloaded, and then it cannot tell scents apart. So I know if I spend about 20 minutes in my candle studio, I have a hard time telling 2 scents apart. I'll stand there and smell them both, and they smell exactly the same to me. And so I have to leave 15, 20 minutes, come
Mhm.
back, quick smell them, and then I know immediately what they are. But you do go nose blind if you are constantly surrounded by scent. So maybe that's why I really don't wear it all that often, 'cause I've already got it in my world, you know?
Yeah. And do you find that you're like, you just it picks up on your clothes? Like,
Yeah.
you're just yeah. You're like, "Why
It
do I need to add more?"
it does, and a lot of times, it's even not in your clothes as much, but it's on your hands and you don't realize it, and you're constantly so you're washing them and, or you might get a little bit on your pants or
Mhm.
whatever. And so usually the scents are pretty good, but if you're working with more like the basic elements, kind of like I said, like patchouli, it can be a little overwhelming. So,
I love that. Honestly, like I agree with you. Sometimes it's too much. Like that's why I
yeah,
haven't worn scents for literally 10 years. Like yesterday was the first time I've sprayed cologne on myself in a very long time. And I will say there was like throughout the day, I kept like tasting it in my mouth, like that like chemically like that like I don't know what it is, that like layering of like something from
yeah.
the scent. And I was like, I hate this. Like, I love the smell, but I hate what it's doing. And I'm like, this is why I don't wear scents, because I can like taste it. I don't know. It is weird.
Well, we have a good friend that is a big foodie and he loves wine and he's very knowledgeable about wine. And he went to this years ago, he went to this wine dinner and it was out in Willamette Valley in Oregon. They were doing Pinot Noirs. It was a high
Hmm.
end kind of thing. And he was so pissed off because a woman that sat next to him had very strong cologne
Oh no.
and he said he goes, he had to get up and move, and it was a thing, and, he's a little blunt, and he's like, "Lady, don't be wearing perfume to a wine dinner." I was like, "You
Yeah.
didn't say that, did you, Mark? Please tell me." But, it's a little it's too much, it messes with it, and,
Yeah.
when you're having food and wine, you wanna smell the food and wine, you don't wanna smell a
100%.
scented candle or
Mhm.
somebody's cologne, it's I in fact, I just did these beautiful green vessels for a wedding that is tonight, actually.
Amazing.
I think it's for the rehearsal dinner, not for the actual wedding, and the bride wanted them in Fraser fir, and I said, "Fraser firs, number 1, it's a strong scent, and you have 10 tables, and you're gonna have 10 of these large candles in 1 room." I mean, 1 Fraser fir candle is pretty strong, and I said, "Please don't do this, please,"
Yeah.
And so and the bride wanted it, she wanted it,
So
so
she went through with it.
she went through with it, and I and it was actually the bride's mother, who was lovely, who I was really trying to talk her out of it because I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh," and, but no, she really wanted it, so she agreed to let me just really cut down the percentage of oil that I used, which I did, and the wedding's tonight, so I'm like, "Okay, don't even tell me if people are like," because some people are very sensitive to it,
Yeah, 100.
and again, you're having a nice meal, and all you're smelling is a Christmas tree in your nose. I'm like, "Oh." So, they're just things you have to be conscious with scents, you know?
Yeah, and you can only sell it so hard because
Mhm.
like similar to my world where I'm like clients will have suggestions and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think you want that. Like, I really don't. I'll show you. Like, with me, it's easier because the visual, like, I can show it to them quickly. And
Yeah.
a lot of times, they'll be like, "No, no, no. What you said first is let's do that. Let's not go with that." I'm like, "Thank you for listening." But with a scent, it's really like that's very different.
It's my job to do what they ask me to do. It's
Hmm.
my job to say, "I think this is a better option,"
Yeah.
and if I say it 2 or 3 times, and if they say no, then it's, as long as they know that it might be a little too much.
And you
I don't
warn them.
I don't have a problem with people having a different opinion than me. I don't. And s
100%.
and so if that's what they want, as long as they know the risks, then I'm gonna give them what they want.
So we've talked about so many things today. We've talked about your business, we've talked about scents, what it's like to make them. So one of the things that I like to ask at the end of every episode is just a general question where once again we talked about branding and that's my world.
Yep.
And so looking at like your life, looking at how you approach your day to day, your business, who you are as a person, like what would you say is the most on brand thing about you?
I think I try to be really intentional with what I'm creating, and I try really hard to listen to people and what it is exactly that they want. So, I would say in my normal life, I'm not a perfectionist. I'm not. I'm my husband calls me a clutter queen because I have, stuff everywhere. So I'm certainly not that, but when it comes to candle making, I really do try to be a perfectionist and very intentional about what I'm doing because I realize that this is something very personal to people. And that's just really important to me and it's who I am and it's likely why why I love the localness of what I do and I'm so lucky that I live in a community that supports buy local like no other.
Mhm.
These folks that live where I live are really adamant about buy local. I guess I'd like to be known as somebody who listens and somebody who can give ideas and give suggestions, but really works hard to come to a conclusion that everybody's really happy with.
I love hearing that. That's
Oh,
literally how my MO in life, and so it's wonderful to have you be part of this. Angela, thank you so much for
thank
doing
you,
this. This
Gio.
this means so much to me, honestly. I really appreciate it.
Oh, this has been a blast, and I know this is not my cup of tea. Like
Mhm.
I'm in a little sound booth that is so amazing, and not that I mind speaking about myself and what I love to do, but I was a little nervous about it, and I just love that you made this so comfortable for me and such a fun moment, and we got to catch up.
Yes, 100%. Are you kidding? I cannot wait until we get to see each other in person again. I like you, we are friends for life. 100%. It's been cemented. Like,
Oh,
I genuinely, like, and I don't care if people are like, oh, shut up, like, you're listening. Like, I'm like, I genuinely, the people that I bring into my life, like, I want them to mean something to me.
oh,
And it's been so wonderful to meet people who are just like down to earth, down for a good time, and just can actually have a conversation and not talk about like stupid. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
listen, we all do, but like I just genuinely appreciate our friendship and the fact that
Oh.
we were given the opportunity to nurture that, especially in Portugal of all places, was like so awesome.
Well, if you didn't ask me about what martini I was drinking, and I didn't, insult my
Yes.
mother by saying porn star, we never would have met. And
Yes.
this whole relationship has just been so fun to get to know the two of you. And,
Hmm.
you just don't know in life where you're going to meet people
Hmm.
and how you're going to meet people and how those people are kind of going to do this in and out of your
Yes.
life. They're going to weave in. And so this has been just a joy. I mean, you are just a joy. And I love your energy
Thank
and I
you.
love your insight and you are great about really listening to people and really hearing them and asking the follow-up questions, which I love because it means you're really listening and you're really
Hmm.
engaged. And lots of people you talk to are just not engaged.
Yeah.
So I love you dearly. Thank you for allowing me to do this.
The feeling is mutual.
Oh.
And so, to anyone listening who would like to get in touch with you, potentially order some candles, like where can they find you online?
So the main place I am right now until I get a website done is Instagram. So my company is called South of Somewhere Designs, and you can look me up that way. Hopefully in the next 2 months, which I'm the biggest procrastinator in getting this website done, I will have that done. But you can always send me a note. You can, send it through there. You can send me an email if you'd rather do that. It's south of somewhere designs at yahoo.com.
Hmm.
And I would love to hear from you. And
Hmm.
I'm always open to like bombarding you with here's some options, here's this, here's that. So be prepared because if you ask me for some suggestions, I'll give them to you.
I love to hear that, honestly. And I'll link all of your socials and everything in the
Oh,
show notes on all the platforms that this goes to. So people will just have to click. They won't even have to type it. So it'll
there
be
you go.
accessible. Yes.
Thank you, Gio.
You're welcome. And to anyone listening, if you want to follow the podcast, please do so. We're on YouTube, all the streaming platforms. Send an email in if you have any questions or want to reach out to anybody in the future at graphiccontentpod@gmail.com. Angela, I want to thank you once again for being part of Graphic Content, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Gio.
Bye.
Love ya. Burn that candle.
I will. Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.